Welcome back to the third and final segment of today's Tax Time show. In this episode, Mr. AJ Kumar, CPA and MBA with Science CPA Services, a firm located right here in state of New Jersey and providing all kinds of accounting services for personal accounting as well as corporate accounting for over 20 years. And Mr. AJ Kumar comes in this show, gives out all the information that we really need to know. If you have any question regarding any of your taxes matter, please feel free to send us an email. Texttime@tvasiausa.com. That's our email ID. Texttime@tvasiausa.com. In this episode, Mr. AJ Kumar has been giving out information regarding PPP loan forgiveness. All right, so here we are in the last segment. When to apply for that
Great question.
loan forgiveness?
Absolutely, Sanjeevji. We are getting a lot of emails, lot of calls. Anxious small business owners. The last thing, they have already used up the money. So the last thing they want is an expectation that they have to pay this money back.
Correct.
So they want to be over with it. They want to be done with it. They don't want to be returning the money. They want the forgiveness yesterday.
Absolutely.
So we are getting a lot of calls from the small businesses like yours about the PPP loan forgiveness. And our advice is don't rush into it. Think about it. The small business lenders, where you got the money, the banks, the fintech companies, they don't have the portal ready yet. Do you really want to be the first one in the queue to go through this whole testing process over there? There are 5 million businesses like yours who have to go through this process. You do not want to be the first one testing out the payroll system. A lot of payroll companies have not created the payroll forgiveness report. If you remember, people who applied for the PPP loan earlier in the beginning, they had to support their own payroll themselves. Much later, all the other payroll companies created the qualified payroll reports. So payroll companies do not have the PPP loan forgiveness report yet. Most payroll companies don't. Most banks, fintech companies, they're not ready with the portal yet.
Yes.
The other thing, you have 10 months up to from the date you receive the money. You don't have to make any payment for the first 10 months anyway. Even though you have 2 years from the date you received the money to return this money at 1%, whatever money is not forgiven. But for the first 10 months, there is no payment anyway. So why rush? There is absolutely no urgency. Also, you have 24 weeks to use this money. So think about it. If you have $50,000, as we took the example in our last segment, do you want more time to use this money or do you want to use less time? And let's say, for example, you have already used up this money and you want to go ahead and apply for the PPP loan forgiveness. Now the bank is telling you, oops, I can't consider this expense, I can't consider that expense. But if you have more time, you still have time to manage your expenses. You can claim 6 months of expenses as opposed to 2 months. As opposed to 8 weeks, you have 24 weeks. So try to maximize your time, to maximize your benefit. Don't rush into it. Even though current deadline is October 31st,
Correct.
as you mentioned earlier, Sanjeevji, but still, it's July. Wait for a few more weeks. Wait for everybody else to get in the line first. Let the system be fixed. Let the reports be out. Let the guidelines be clarified.
PPP money for some businesses maybe not enough. They ran out. They used it all. Is there another PPP funding coming along?
Well, we have been talking about it. We have had a lot of traction. A lot of people want it. See, you have to take a step back. Think about it. When the COVID-19 first hit, we were all told, just take 2 weeks of quarantine period and you don't have to worry about it. Everything will be handy dandy. It's a small time. Everybody will be okay next month. It's been 4 months.
Yes.
Since mid-March, when the things started
yes.
to calm down, to started to be closed. Now we are in July, end of July here. So these things have been taking a little longer than what we initially expected. So I wouldn't be surprised. There are a lot of talks about it. There are a lot of calls about it. Nothing is finalized yet. But we are expecting some new benefits to be given out, even if not at the business level, maybe at the individual level. But some benefits will be given out.
That's a part of the HEROES Act.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is also part of the HEROES Act. And if you recall, when we talked about the HEROES Act last time, we were talking about the PPP Flexibility Act. We were talking about the second stimulus package. Remember when we talked about the first stimulus package, everybody got $1,200
Yes.
as an adult and $500 for kids under 17. In the HEROES Act, the second wave of the stimulus package is up to $6,000, where each adult gets $1,200 if they make $75,000 or less as a single, or $150,000 or less if they are married filing joint, and each child gets $1,200, not $500. And earlier, the age was 17 years, meaning if the child is under 17, only then they get the money. If you have parents as dependent, or if your children are over 17, they did not get any money in the first stimulus package. In the second stimulus package, they are talking about $1,200 per dependent, irrespective of the age, up to $6,000. You have up to 3 dependents that you can get the money for. So $6,000 in total, 2 for the parents, husband, wife, and 3 dependents, $1,200 each. If the HEROES Act gets passed the way it is written out right now, and it can change by the time it passes, then it also includes giving money for people who missed it in the first stimulus package. Meaning, if somebody did not get the $500 because their kids were over 17, they will be given money now. If somebody got $500, they will be given $700 more to bring them up to the same level. So a lot of good things about the HEROES Act. It's not passed yet.
You just have given a lot of hope and a lot of...
And I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Yes.
I'm really sincerely hoping that some new benefits will come in the market. The market situation is not as good. The COVID-19 is not over. We were expecting it to be a short-term thing, and it keeps stretching out. So we are sincerely hoping some more benefits will come out.
At least some of it will be approved. It might take a month or two, because there's been lately a lot of talk regarding this HEROES Act in the news lately. And viewers, if you're following it up, I'm sure that you know what I'm talking about. So they have started discussing, Democrats and Republicans, they have started discussing. All right, quickly move on to this. Can someone get loan forgiveness if they have used employees' retention tax credit fund?
Well, no, they're two independent things. So either you can use the employee retention credit, or you can use the PPP loan forgiveness. You cannot duplicate the benefit. Employee retention credit is up to $5,000 per employee, or 50% of the first $10,000 of the payroll that you're paying to the employee. But it's for those people who could not use the PPP loan. You cannot have the PPP loan as well as the employee retention credit, Sanjeev.
Okay,
the way it's written out.
last question I have, and I really mean it. This is going to be last question. PPP loan forgiveness program, whether it's October deadline, December deadline, whatever the deadline is, they can go and apply for it. But then there is another package comes along. Let's say if it's for personal individual taxpayers as well as business taxpayers. How does it work that one company applies for a loan forgiveness for the PPP loan that they got money earlier, a couple of months ago, and now they're applying for another loan in name of PPP from the government? You're asking for forgiveness on one hand for the money that you already got, and you're applying for more money to come your way. Well, how does that work?
It's not too complicated. If you just take a step back and forget about the logistic of it. Why do you need the money? The money that we gave you, the money that the government gave you, that was only a small amount of money, 2.5 months of your qualified payroll. It's more than 2.5 months. So the money has already run out.
So
how do I keep my business continued? How do I keep running the business when I don't have the money? So it doesn't matter how logistically you make it work. I just want the money. We'll worry about the forgiveness later. Allow me to run my business. There are several ways to do it. The government, being the government, can always extend the deadline. They can always say, we gave you the PPP funding, we'll duplicate the same amount of money, and you can have a single loan forgiveness application. There are several ways to cut it logistically.
Wow.
The key here is, are you getting the money or not?
There you go.
And when are you getting the money?
There's so much information to give out, and that's why you need someone like AJ Kumar to help you out with your taxes. Remember, Mr. AJ Kumar can be reached. You will see all the information on the screen. Science CPA Services is the firm that he's associated with it here, right here in state of New Jersey. And with that note, we come to an end of this episode, PPP loan forgiveness episode in today's Text Time show. Ajay ji, thank you so very much for your time.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me.
And once again, viewers, any question, please do send us an email, texttime@tvasiausa.com. I am Sanjeev Pandya, wishing you all happy and tax-free days ahead. Let's hope the information on HEROES Act as well as on PPP loan forgiveness, some good news comes along very, very soon. Until we meet again, so long.